Good evening. In today's class, we are going to discuss about the constitutional design, class 9th, chapter number 3. Now we shall start chapter number 3rd, constitutional design. Constitutional design. In this particular chapter, we shall discuss about the constitution, that on what basis our constitution was formed, how many committees were formed, and what was the main committee who was responsible to draft the constitution. So before starting this topic, I would like to inform you that in 1765, when British East India Company was ruling over here, so in 1765, British East India Company got the rights of the revenue of Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha. And after this, they came into administration. So they were ruling over here through some charter acts. And the first charter act they sent in 1773. This is also called Regulating Act. 1773, letter 1784, letter 1881, 1813. 1813, 1833, letter 1858, letter 1909, which is called Montagu-Chelmsford Reform, letter 1919, and after 19, Government of India Act 1935, and letter 1947. So these particular were the act who came during that time period, and East India Company was ruling over here through these particular regulating acts or charter acts. But in this particular chapter, we shall not discuss about these acts, because one act has at least 20 provisions. So this particular part we study in political science in post graduation, right? So the main motive of telling you about the constitution, that before framing the constitution, British East India Company was ruling here by these acts. Now we shall discuss that how Indian constitution was formed. First time in 1934, a person whose name was M.N. Roy. M.N. Roy was a communist person, and first time he demanded that there will be a separate constitution for independent India in 1934. M.N. Roy. Right. In 1935, Indian National Congress officially accepted his demand. INC accepted his demand that there will be a constitution after the independence. So in March 1946, Cabinet Mission Plan came to India. Before coming Cabinet Mission Plan, there were several other provisions. For example, August Proposal were there, Cripps Mission was there, Nehru Report was there, Jinnah Formula was there, but all these things were rejected. Some things were rejected by Indian National Congress and something were rejected by Indian Muslim League. So finally, in 1946, a mission came to India, which name was Cabinet Mission Plan. What was Cabinet Mission Plan? The mission came to India for framing the constitution for independent India, and there were 3 members in this particular mission. First one was A.B. Alexander, second one was Stafford Cripps, and third one was Sir Patrick Lawrence. So these people came to India for electing a constituent assembly, because the main motive of this commission was to frame a constitution. And but why forming a constituent committee? Because Indian people were in the favor that Indian constitution should be framed by the Indian people only. So in 1946, Cabinet Mission Plan came to India. Cabinet Mission Plan. There were 3 persons in this mission. First one was Stafford Cripps. Second one was Patrick Lawrence. And third one was A.B. Alexander. Right. So these people came, and finally they said that because at that time period universal franchise was not given, so this particular election was based on indirect base. So there were total number of seats in Constituent Assembly. There were total number of seats 3 89 seats. 389 seats were total there. 296 seats were allotted to the British Indian state, and 93 seats were allotted to the princely state. Princely state means that where local princes and local kings were ruling, and British Indian states were the state where Britishers were ruling. Right. So in this way, this particular division of seats were there. Next, we shall discuss about the framing of the constitution. That what was the next step. So finally, because I already told you that Muslim League was not in favor of the constitution, Muslim League wanted a separate nation. So Muslim League boycotted cabinet mission plans. So after the partition, there were several members who boycotted and who withdraw their name from the Constituent Assembly. So now the number of people were only 299 members were there. 299 members were there in Constituent Assembly. But finally, when Constitution was came into force, then we find it that on the day when Constitution was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 26 November 1949, so only 284 people signatured over there and 15 were the women. Now we shall discuss about the facts of this particular Constitution. Right. So now main motive, first point is that when Indian Constituent Assembly first meeting was held on 9th December 1946. What they did on the first day, they nominated a person, the president of Constituent Assembly, whose name was Dr. Sachinanand Sinha. Dr. Sachinanand Sinha. Why? Because this was a provision in Russia and French that the senior most person of the assembly will be the head of this particular assembly. As you know that a person, I think a modern philosopher whose name was Duke Metternich, because first time revolution take place in French. So after the French, this particular things revolution spread in all over the Europe. So first person whose name was Duke Metternich said that when French sneeze, all the Europe catches cold. So this was the tradition in France and Russia. That's why we took this provision that they made the president of Constituent Assembly the senior most person whose name was Sachinanand Sinha. But later, after some time, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was appointed as the president of Constituent Assembly. But after some time, he was a temporary, not the permanent. Right. On 13th December 1946, 13th December 1946, objective resolution was proposed by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Objective resolution was proposed by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. What was the objective resolution? Objective resolution means that Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru said that India will be a sovereign and a republic country, right? What does it mean? What is the sovereignty? Sovereignty means is that country is independent to take its internal and external decisions. No one can interfere in this particular thing. Second thing, what is the republic? Republic means that the government will be elected by the people. Means that the head of the government will be elected by the citizens of that particular country. Second thing was that first thing was that India will be a sovereign and republic country. Second was that universal adult franchise will be provided to everyone. What does it mean? Universal adult franchise means that every person who is at the age of 18 or above, he is eligible for right to vote, right? But at that time period, the age of right to vote was 21 years. Later, during the 1989, by the 61st amendment of the constitution, this age was reduced and now this age is 18 years. Two things. Third thing was that rights of minority will be protected. Third thing was that rights of minority will be protected. Fourth thing was that reservation will be provided to the social, economical and political backward people, right? So in this provision, reservation was provided. Later, in the inception, it was provided to the SC community and ST community, right? What about the OBC? So OBC reservation was provided during the time period of the Narasimha Rao government. First time during the time period of Janata Party government in 1979, a committee was formed under the leadership of BP Mandal. BP Mandal was the former Chief Minister of Bihar. So government said that that reservation has been provided to the ST community as well as to the SC community. Now there are a lot of people who are not covered in a reservation, and they deserve the reservation because they are still backward, economically and socially backward. So he recommended, in this commission recommended that there were the approximately 3,500 such castes that they were economically deprived and they did not get the reservation. So in this way, during the time period of Narasimha Rao government in 1991 or 92, this particular report was implemented, and after the Mandal Commission, 23% the reservation was provided to the OBC, other backward caste. Now, what was the thing? These provisions were there on objective resolution. That reservation will be provided. I told you about this because sometimes mostly students ask the question that, sir, OBC reservation was provided at the time period or no? That's why I told you. Right? Rights of minorities will be protected and fundamental rights will be given to all the citizens. These were the objective resolution. So finally, objective resolution was accepted by 22nd January 1947. Finally, it was accepted, and later it became the preamble of the Constitution. Means that preamble means the short introduction of the Constitution. Right? All the provisions which were listed in the objective resolution, you can find it out that all the provisions are written in the preamble of the Constitution. It is a short introduction of the Constitution, and it tells us the vision of the Constitution, that what was the thinking, what was the ideology of the people who formed this Constitution. Right. Next, finally it was accepted. Now there were 11 committees. There were 11 committees because these people were divided into committees. There were Union Constituent Committee, Union Constituent Committee, Provinces Constituent Committee, Fundamental Rights Committee, Draft Committee, Minority Committee. So in this way, there were several committees. The main committee was the Draft Committee. Draft Committee was very important committee because the main work of this particular committee was to frame a constitution. So what these people did, I'm writing here the names of the people who were in Draft Committee because this particular committee is really very important, and these people worked hard a lot, and the main person was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Yes, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. He is also known as the father of the Constitution, and some political thinkers said that he is the modern Manu. Who was the Manu? Manu was the first Brahmana who compiled Manu Smriti. Right? These were the laws of the Brahmanas which were written in the Manu Smriti. Right? So in Draft Committee, first person was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. He was a president of that particular committee. Second one was Sayyid Muhammad Saadullah. Third one was K.M. Munshi. Fourth one was A.B. Iyengar. Fifth one was Alladi Krishnaswamy Iyer. Sixth one was T.T. Krishnamachari, and last one was N. Madhav Rao. So these people studied the constitution of different country, and finally they wrote our constitution. They draft our constitution. So our constitution is copied from the 10 10 countries, and 11th one was Government of India Act 1935. I'm writing here all the details, I will write here. So these were the person who were responsible to framing the constitution. B.R. Ambedkar was the president, that's why he is known as the father of the constitution, and many people said that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar wrote the constitution of India. Right, next. On 26th November 1949, Indian Constitution was adopted. On 26th January 1950, it came into force. On 24th January 14 January 1950, our national anthem was adopted. On 24th January 1950, national song was adopted. On 24th January 1950, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was appointed as the President of India, not the Constituent Assembly, President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Right. On 22 July 1947, Indian Constituent Assembly adopted Indian national flag, tricolor flag, Indian flag. On 29th May 1949, India signed Commonwealth. India signed Commonwealth. It doesn't mean is that the sovereignty will be affected of India. It was the main person, means that there was no effect after signing the Commonwealth. Right. So these were the provision that what Indian Constituent Assembly adopted. Indian Constituent Assembly adopted national anthem, national song, and Indian national flag, signed Commonwealth, and made the President of India to Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Now we shall discuss about the concept, that what were the concept we have taken from different countries. But before explaining the concept, I am telling you that how many articles were there, because this was the most important reason that in the inception 395 articles were there in Indian Constitution. Articles and 8 schedules and 20 parts were there at the time period when it was adopted. Right. Total expense was approximately 64 lakh rupees were spent in framing of the constitution. It was printed in Dehradun, right, printed. And the person who were the main person, legal advisor, who was the legal advisor? So legal advisor was B.N. Rao. And who was the I already told you, the first temporary president was Dr. Sachinandan Sinha, and permanent president was Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Later, legal advisor was B.N. Rao, and vice president. Who were the vice president? There were the 2 vice president of Constituent Assembly. First one was H.C. Mukherjee, and second one was T.T. Krishnamachari. These were the persons who were the legal advisor and vice president of Constituent Committee. Next, we shall discuss about that from which country what the provisions we have taken. Right. So there are the 11 particular place, means that 10 country, and first one is Government of India Act 1935, GOI 1935. First country was USA, second one was USSR, third one was UK, fourth one was Germany, fifth one was South Africa, sixth one was Australia. Seventh one was Japan. Eighth one was Canada. Ninth one was Ireland. USA, USSR, UK, Germany, South Africa, Australia, Japan, Canada, Ireland, and 10th one was France. So what provision we have taken from there? First of all, we shall start from the Government of India Act 1935. From the Government of 1935, we have taken Election Commission. Second one was emergency provisions. Emergency provisions. Third one was RBI, Reserve Bank of India. Next one was UPSC, and next one was list, union list, state list, union list, state list, and concurrent list. These lists we have taken from Government of India. It was a very big document, Government of India 1935. It contained 250 articles were there. So 250 articles, we copied 250 articles directly from there. This particular Government of India Act 1935 was prepared by the Britishers. We have taken from the USA our fundamental rights. Fundamental rights: impeachment over president, impeachment, independent judiciary, independent judiciary. These particular fundamental rights, impeachment, independent judiciary, these provisions we have taken from the USA. From the USSR, from the USSR, fundamental duties. From the UK, parliamentary system, parliamentary system we have taken. From the Germany, suspension of fundamental rights during the time period of emergency. We know very well that our emergency provisions are started from Article 352 to Article 360. So as per the Article 358, our fundamental rights are suspended during the emergency except Article 20 and 21, which is related to the life and liberty. It cannot be suspended. By the 1978, by the 44th Amendment of the Constitution 1978, our fundamental rights cannot be suspended except, means will be suspended except Article 20 and 21. So suspension of fundamental rights. From the South Africa, we have taken the constitutional amendment process. Constitutional amendment process. From the Australia, we have taken from the language of the preamble. Language of preamble. Language of preamble. Second thing, concurrent list. Concurrent list, and the provision of trade provisions. From the Japan, rule established by law. Rule established by law. Established by law, and rule of law we have taken from rule of law. We have taken from UK, means United Kingdom. From Canada, our federal system. What is federal system? Federal system means division of power between the state and the central. This particular system is called federal system. Federal system. Second thing was nomination of 12 members in Rajya Sabha is also taken from Canada. From the Ireland, DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policies, we have taken from the Ireland. And France, equality, fraternity, they have taken this provision from the France. So I hope this topic is clear to everyone, and now all the schedules, all the parts, and all the articles of the Constitution we shall discuss in the further class. Thank you so much.